Get ready for an unforgettable experience. Are you ready? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's get hype.
What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back. 3 days in a row to the late night hype midday party. Got a midday party today. Coming up, special guest in the building, Phillip Tanner. I really think you're gonna like this guy, man. If you don't know him already, you about to know him. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Make sure y'all hit that like. Y'all subscribe and share. We're gonna have fun today, man. Okay. What's going on? Yeah, a little bit of energy, PT. That's what we like to do. We like to bring in a little bit of energy, man.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
We can't have no dull days, man. We've been running on fumes the last 2 weeks. Y'all been getting too much late night hype. Never too. So now you about to get another face full of it today with a great guest and Mr. Phillip Tanner.
Absolutely.
How you doing today, big dog?
Man, I'm great, man. Living life.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's really good that you took us some time out your busy schedule. I know you're a busy guy right now. Just to chop it up and talk some Cowboys football, some ongoing, some ingoing, some all kind of goings all going right now with the Cowboys. But let's just jump it off right. Let's just jump right into it. You came in with the Cowboys 2011, correct? As an undrafted free agent. You were there from 2011 to 2013. You was in there 2014 right quick too, because I know they had the cuts, and then you had Buffalo and San Francisco, and then the last couple of years you were there as assistant special teams coach.
I just gotta say this though before you go any further. I believe it was 2011, man. When you ran without your helmet. No. I'm talking about
I want to talk about
the Chargers. I was looking for. I wanted to play it, but YouTube Illuminati be funny, so I couldn't play it. But I'm just telling you that play, even though it was preseason, right?
Yeah, it was preseason.
I absolutely loved that play. What was going through your head before we go on with some of the serious questions? Because you was gone, Playboy. As soon as the helmet came off, you took off.
I mean, it was get it out the mud,
Yeah.
you know, and that's how I live my life, man.
Right.
By any means necessary. You know,
I love it.
Nothing's gonna stop me, so that wasn't gonna stop the show.
Period. I love it, man. It reminded me of Jason Witten.
Yeah.
When we did that. Yeah, I just want to bring that up, big game. Go ahead, Phillip.
Oh no, you good, because I was gonna bring up before we jump to anything about the Ray Lewis, because I was watching that, because I remember that game. I remember when you got activated, and I was like, yeah, Phillip Taylor gonna run that ball today. You feel me? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me know. In the first part of the game, you came through the middle, Ray hit you, and it was a big hit. Everybody was going off, Ray jumping up and down, wooty, wooty, woo. But guess what, Ray? Guess what, Ray? I see Phillip come right through that line and blow up that arm, and he immediately was holding it. And when he was holding, he was walking off. And guess what? I seen Phillip over there talking to him. What you say to him, man?
Oh, man, first of all, much respect to Ray, man. He's one of the best to ever do it, you know. And we was going back and forth the whole game, you know. So after that play, man, when I seen him, we went down. And he stood over. I like, don't check out on me 5'2". I said, don't leave me 5'2". But the crazy part about it, man, Ray got a TED talk, you know, and he was talking about that on his TED talk. And he was like, yeah, look, running back. And he's standing over and telling me not to leave. And he was like,
wow,
you know what? I'm gone, you know.
Wow.
So yeah, you know, so that was one of the greatest moments, man. And then ESPN had the picture, so I still got the picture of me standing over Ray.
Hey, look, I got the highlight, so it's going to be running today, PT.
Yeah.
I got that
highlight going to run it, because I ain't go there, because I remember when he was holding that arm, he was walking over. I remember you shaking your head, and I see you talking to him like.
Yeah, I told him, don't leave me. I said, don't leave me 5'2". Don't check out on me.
Love
much
it.
Much respect to Ray Lewis, man. One of the best to ever do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, like you said, you played with the Cowboys. You came in actually when Garrett came in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So those 3 years, right quick, because we're going to talk about all of it. But those 3 years, I mean, a lot of people were frustrated because, you know, he had the 8-8, and everybody was talking about the December swoon, things of that nature. How was kind of your time in Dallas, the culture, you know, just how was your experience in Dallas, your playing days there?
Man, I think it was a redefining, you know. It was a Garrett and business culture. You know, he was just getting his feet wet. You know, so it was him just establishing his culture and what he wanted out of the Dallas football Cowboys. Just what he wanted from an organization standpoint, whether it was the custodial staff, whether it was cafeteria staff, it was the players, the front office, journalism, media, blogging, whatever it was just him putting his stamp on the entire organization as a whole.
Okay. Now, what was your kind of initial thoughts? Because a lot of people, you know, they're glad Garrett gone, 10 years of up and down, inconsistency. What kind of your thoughts? Because we heard about Des Bryant calling the Garrett guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of people talked about the Garrett guys. I mean, what is that definition of the Garrett guys to you? And it came out, it seems like a negative thing. Was it a negative situation while you were there, or what was going on with that?
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. You know, I was a Garrett guy. Everything is about perspective.
Okay.
You know, and a Garrett, every coach has their guys. And what I mean by their guys is, when I speak about a player, who is he as a person? How he is defined as a person. And as a Garrett guy, it's the first guy in, last guy out. You know, a guy that's going to come in and put team above self, work their ass off every day, you know, and go at it about the right way. Good character guy, stand out of the media. You know, those are true Garrett guys. You know, Garrett guys are your Sean Lees, your Tyron Smith, your Zach Martin, Travis Fredericks. You know, those are your Garrett guy. And Randall Cobb came in from day one and was a Garrett guy. You know, Dak Prescott, a Garrett guy. You know, so it's just that guy that you want to build your team around and have when someone look at your team, well, they know anything about football, you know, what can they say about this organization? What can they say about these different players? Tyrone Crawford, you know, a Garrett guy, you know, one of those guys that's willing to get in there, get it out the mud, get gritty, you know, and do whatever it takes to help the team and put the team above self. I'm a fan of it. I think every coach has their guys. You can have a Saban guy, you can have a Parcells guy. You know, so whatever that guy means, the definition or characteristics of that guy.
So would you say Garrett guy and right kind of guy? Because that was another moniker, right? Right kind of guy. We heard Jason Garrett say that all the time. Is that the same thing pretty much?
Almost definitely. That's exactly what it is. You know, he always say, you want to build an organization around the right type of guys. You know, and that right type of guy indirectly is a Garrett guy.
Right. And I think it took on a bad name after, the Des Bryant interviews, but I was one that was behind we called it the RKG, the right kind of guy. I was behind that moniker because when he came out and explained it, it wasn't just some saint, right? You weren't just this perfect person. It was somebody that loved the game. This is what he said, I think. Someone that loved the game of football, and they came and they worked hard, like you said. They brought their lunch pail and they did whatever they could do to help the football team. That I like that. If that's what a Garrett guy is, absolutely.
100%. Because I mean, like you said, it's not the same because 2-1 is a Garrett guy.
Who's
and Zeke's a Garrett guy. And people say, oh, well, Zeke in the media and this and that, but Zeke's a Garrett guy. Zeke's not the perfect guy. No one on that roster is the perfect guy. Garrett's not the perfect guy. So the Garrett guy is not the perfect guy. It's that lunch pail guy, hard hat, steel toe boots on, coming in and ready to get work done every day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So here's my thing. That's a great definition. And I always, this is just my opinion, and you let me know, this is going to be just my opinion. So when Garrett came in, this is what I felt. I felt like he was a good coach. I just never felt that he was ever going to get the team over the hump. That's just my opinion. I felt like he was always going to be competing. If you watched his whole career at Dallas, there were rarely blowouts with Dallas. Dallas was always competing, and that's what kind of always seemed to save him when the season would start going bad. The team would always be fighting to the very end, so you can never look at the team and say, well, the team is giving up on Garrett. They're just giving up on him, so let's just get rid of the season like they were saying Wade Phillips before, they switched over. So you never had that. But what do you think was the reason, just like even at your time, those 3 years, they had the December swoon. Dallas would be doing good, then always something would happen. It would seem like always something would be happening. And people were saying, well, is it Garrett or is it the players? What was really always the inconsistency? 1 year up, 1 year down, 1 year up. What do you think what was going on with that?
I mean, as we always talked about as a staff, man, everybody has their hand in the pot, from front office to players to everybody as far as wins or losses. So it's hard to say, to point the finger at one way or another. And I'll never do that. I never point to it. Everyone has a hand in the pot, their reason of why it didn't work out, because we can go back to the Green Bay game, why it didn't work out. You can say the referees, or the officials or NFL rules, so it's so many different ways you can say why things didn't work out. But you called it yourself. People talk about Garrett as a coach, and you also said, guys never gave up on him. Guys always worked their tail off for him. That's one of the biggest compliments as a coach. Mm-hmm. How hard will my guys go out there and play for? Because the guys on the other side, they're getting paid too. So that's the thing about it. The Eagles, the Redskins, the Giants, the Saints, those teams, those players, they got good players, good coaches. Everybody have good players, good coaches in that, other than Cleveland. But no, but no, it's good players and good coaches on every team. So just watching how hard guys went out and played for Garrett was unbelievable, man. That last Redskins game last year was one of the most defining moments of my career as a player or coach, seeing what transpired in that locker room after that game. It was unbelievable.
What was it like in that locker room that day?
It was one of the most emotional locker rooms I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Because guys knew it. The writing was on the wall.
I was about to say.
Knew that we weren't going to the playoffs, and there was a really good chance that JG wasn't coming back. So you had guys standing in line like they get ready to get on a roller coaster on the Texas Giant with tears in their eyes, grown men.
Dang.
Tears running through their eyes just to hug JG,
Really?
knowing what it was, because coaches, players, everything, was just tears from everybody. 21, Zach Martin, Tyron, like grown men, with just tears in their eyes, just running, just flowing, because we knew what it was and we knew the passion. They knew how bad JG wanted, the staff wanted it, and how bad they wanted it for JG. So I'll say this in front of anybody, anywhere, any place. Those guys believed in JG. They wanted JG. They wanted JG, So will they respect McCarthy? Of course. That's the business of it. JG leaving, that's the business of it. But for anybody to say that those guys didn't put on the line and didn't want to play for JG, man, that's a lie.
Yeah,
I think that's what we wanted to hear, because so many people, especially that last season,
Yeah.
PT, a lot of people were feeling like they're giving up on Garrett, and that's why the season's happened. So you being in that locker room, we want to hear that perspective.
Right. And like I say, anybody in the locker room, like you got your Jordan Lewis, all your big time play, every locker in there, it was tears in guys' eyes. Like I said, Randall Cobb was there for a snap of a finger, and he still was hurt, because he's seen the type of guy that Garrett was and how Garrett put on the line every day and how he went to bat for his players.
That's kind of deep right there. What about you, Will?
Well, I agree in the sense that one of the things I was trying to say during the season was I don't believe that people were just quitting on Garrett, because I think Garrett, if you listen to the players, it's in their DNA. Garrett is in the DNA. Yeah. Listen to what they're saying, so I don't believe they were giving up on Garrett. It's just that, I got to agree with Big Game James. I never thought that he was the type of coach to take us over the hump, but that doesn't mean that these players weren't going to go out there and play their hardest for him. And when you were talking about, guys being emotional, it sounded like it was one of those times where you're a senior in high school or college and graduation was coming up, and you knew, guys, this is the last time we're going to all be in this locker room together, and a majority of us, including the coaches. And it's crazy to hear that from an actual coach that was there, because we put 2 and 2 together, and you saw how they came out and played for him in that last game. Granted, it's the Redskins, right? But still, 44 points, what was it, 44-17 or something like that? With technically the game was still on, the playoffs were still on the line. We didn't know until like later in that game with the Giants and the Eagles. So, yeah, I mean, I believe that players play hard for Jason Garrett. I never thought that they would not play hard for Jason Garrett, because he has this, and you can maybe explain it better, but he has some type of aura with him, that he gets over the players, and they become Jason Garrett in the sense, especially through the media.
It's about defining a culture, and that's what he did. He came in and he defined his culture, and it's hard to now think about Dallas Cowboys without thinking about Jason Garrett. You can just see that through the draft and through everything that's going on with the Cowboys. Even to every transaction that happened with the Cowboys, say Garrett wouldn't have done that, or Garrett would have. So Garrett is still on everybody's mind.
You ain't lying.
We talk about one time.
I'm gonna keep it real, dog. I'm gonna just keep it funky. Like, there's been so many games that I've seen that I felt like it was going to predict. As soon as I saw the first or second quarter, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. It would just seem like it would happen that way. You get what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep it so funky. Like, when now that McCarthy's here, I'm going to still get out of that mindset of here we go again. Dak threw an interception. Here we go again. We about to do this same
PT.
stuff.
10
like
years.
10 years of it, PT. 10 years of it. So I'm trying to retrain my mind to think that this is not the same thing that's going to be happening. And as I said before, I ain't never hated on Garrett as far as like, oh man, screw Garrett, this and that. But I just felt he was an average coach, and I just felt like he was never going to get championships. I felt like he was more of a better – I love the way he brought the culture, and all the players were saying that the culture was good. Nobody can say that there was a bad culture as far as like with Garrett, because they said he was on it, and they said he was a stickler to he was real meticulous in what he did, and I heard that from a lot of people. So I never doubted that, but getting over the hump, I never thought he was that coach to do that.
Right. And that's one thing that, I never go into the X's and O's and schematics of a coach, just out of respect for any coach. But as far as a culture and how he ran the organization, man, it was unbelievable. And I guarantee you, McCarthy said in his interview, trust the process. And everybody went crazy. Oh, trust the process, trust the process. So everybody went crazy. So I guarantee you, every time you hear trust the process, Big Red gonna go through your head. Big Red gonna go the first time McCarthy clap. Big Red's gonna go through everybody's head. So
he better not clap.
Real quick, just elaborate on that. So see, you know about the clapping. You know how the fans feel about the clapping. What did the players feel that too?
Keep it real, PT.
If you look at every player, every coach, every guy has their niche. What they do. And that was just
calming mechanism.
Yeah, that was just calming mechanism. Whether it was a stress reliever, let me calm down, let me get back, and let me stay calm, cool, collected, let me not get too high, let me not get too low. This is how I snap back. Every athlete has some form of snapping back, getting back into it. Some running backs may grab their towel, rub their towel. Some D linemen may beat up on their shoulder pads. Whatever it may be, they find that way to lock back in. And that was just JG's way of locking back in, not getting too high, not getting too low. So that's why after an interception or a turnover, he can clap. Because as a coach, you can't show any kind of panic. You can't show that, oh, I'm going crazy because we just turned the ball over. Where fans may go throw a beer, kick a TV. You can't do that as a coach or a player. Next play. So that was his way of locking back in next play.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes I wanted him to say, "Dak, what the was that?"
Yeah,
Get your ass over here, Playboy.
No, we wanted. I mean, come on, man. Sometimes we just like in the press conference, just get mad one time. I just want you to get mad one damn time, dog. I get it. That ain't your person, but I need to see it at least one time. But let me ask you this, because 2018, right? They get the trade with Amari Cooper. We saw how the season was going. They make the trade. Dallas goes to the playoffs. Boom, 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 looking great. Then you come in 2019, and I know you've been very vocal about Ezekiel Elliott. Okay,
yeah.
So I've been watching that Twitter over there.
I'm gonna elaborate on that.
So they come Ezekiel Elliott holding out. I hear a lot of things from. We had George Ioka on the show. The feeling that we were hearing that the players felt good, but it was a lot of pressure on the coaches. We had other players saying that the coaches were feeling a lot of pressure in 2019 that maybe they didn't feel in 2018. You were there as a coach. What was the thought?
I don't think it was so much pressure, especially with the 2-1 situation, with Zeke's situation. That's business. So on this profession, you can't worry about contracts. That's going to happen. So the players stood behind him. We stood behind him. We knew it was just a matter of time before Zeke came back into that locker room. So we was excited. Also gave guys like Tony Pollard a chance to get out and show us what he can do. So that helped us out.
But
he
didn't play though, PT. Though, what happened with that?
The thing about it is, it's hard to take 21 off the field. And not only because of what you paid him, just because who he is as a player. Offensively, is it good things that we could have done to get Tony Pollard the ball? Of course. But again, I'm not in it for the schematic parts of things, because you can look at it and say, oh, cool. We give Tony the ball. What was it, the Philly game?
Philly, I knew
down
that was
in the red zone, and he put it on the grass.
Yeah.
So you can't. It's hit or miss. Fans will never just be we're so excited because the Vikings game, we give Zeke the ball and he gets stuffed. Then the next week we don't give him the ball. Why can you give Tony the ball, and vice versa? Give Tony Pollard the ball, give Tony Pollard the ball, give TP the ball. And he fumble down there in a crucial situation. And nothing against TP, fumbles happen all the time. Mm-hmm. But it's just, okay, you got to be careful. This is what we want, and you get what you want, and it doesn't work out for you. So the thing about that is, it wasn't any pressure. There's no pressure then, and it is from day one. It's a bottom line business. The main thing is the main thing. Get in and win games. From a coaching staff as far as from players. But you can't allow pressure to deter you or get you off your game or have you so focused on what the media is saying. You got to ignore the noise and go out and still play ball.
It felt like that was one of JG's things where he did a good job of having the players, well, maybe except for D-Law. D-Law loves the media. But most of the players try to ignore the media. But maybe the pressure James is talking about more so is the pressure to win, because this could be the last dance, right? I mean, we just seen the last dance with the Bulls, but this feels like the last dance because we've heard Cheeto. We've heard Kayvon Frazier come out and say, hey, man, some things were put in the game plan during the week, and then, come game day, completely scrapped. I don't know if that was pressure or if that was by design, but I think that's where a big game I think is kind of leaning towards. Did you feel that with the coaches, that there was some pressure?
I didn't feel pressure at all. No, and I guess I said it because I played for the Cowboys. So there's no pressure. The only pressure is win Super Bowl or bust. And that's how it is with the Dallas Cowboys, and then going into JG's last year of his contract, not having an extension. So we already understood, okay, cool, this is what we have to do in order to be extended. We're all under JG's umbrella. Yeah. So we took it as more as motivation per se than panicking or anything like that, because the Dallas Cowboys from draft, and we draft big time receiver, and now we're going to the Super Bowl. I guarantee if we go out and lose the first preseason game, now we suck again. Yep. So that's just what you take with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that now.
It's crazy. It's crazy when you hear that big game, because Jason Garrett doesn't seem like he felt much pressure. He was always Jason Garrett.
Yeah,
That's
he
one
was
thing I
always the
will
same.
give
He
him
never
credit.
changed.
He didn't. He stayed down that line. Whether you was 13-3 or whether we was 8-8, he was always Jason Garrett. So I don't even know if it was JG that was feeling any pressure per se coming from some of the players, but I know he felt it, but I don't think he showed it. Everyone feels it in Dallas.
And that's the best way to put it. You know, you understand. You see the writing on the wall. The main thing is the main thing. But you can't allow you to you can't focus on that. Right. You know, you still got to go out there and play a full-quarter football game every week.
Do you have any insight on McCarthy or McCarthyisms or any of the new coaches that are in staff? I know it's a bunch of different ones, so I don't know if you kind of rub shoulders with any of those guys.
I know they got the best running back coach. I know that.
Oh,
I only say that. I only say that to Skip Pete,
right?
That's the guy that gave me the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like I said, GB is my guy. I was able to play with both of them. But Skip was the one that beat on the table to say, let's get this guy in here and give him a shot. That was the guy that called me back in July of 2011, right after the lockout, when no one was even calling guys. And he called me and said, we want to bring you to San Antonio for training camp. But that was the first voice I ever heard out of a Cowboys organization. So Skip Pete will always be dear to me.
I love that hire.
So Skip Pete will always be my guy no matter what. And so with Skip being back in the building, man, I'm so excited for that running back room and for the organization and for Skip Pete.
What do you think that does for Zeke? Skip better than anybody on this panel.
It's the same, man. Skip and GB are two of the same type of guys, and Zeke is a really good player. I think more so it helps out guys like Tony Pollard, so he's able to be there for TP and things like that. So the running back room, I don't think will miss a step. They didn't miss a step last year, so I'm excited about it. It couldn't have had a better swap out, between GB and Skip Pete. So emotionally, of course, I'm tied to Skip. Both of them are outstanding coaches. I was able to play for both of them.
I got a running back question from one of the fans. Big game, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Lunatic said, what type of running back should the Cowboys have as a RB3? Should it be a short yardage back or another pass catching type back? Because we only got two backs right now, right?
Yeah. So as an RB3, man, really, to be honest,
special teams
RB3, special teams guy. Our RB3 shouldn't even be focused on the offense per se. He got to be a special teams team, whether he can return kicks, he can go down and tackle on kicks, protect on punt. So to answer this question, it wouldn't be a smaller guy or a pass catching back to me, because that's where you want your change up guy in your number 2 that can get in there and get it done. But RB3 would definitely be a true special teams guy, so say for instance, if Rod Smith was on this roster, and he was an RB, and he would be the perfect RB3, that guy that can be just a dominant ace on special teams. And if he had to get in on third down and pass protecting like that, he's that guy. Prime example, Jameis Olawale.
I was about to say Jameis.
He's your RB3.
Pretty much.
No doubt.
Yep.
Okay, because I was hearing they just drafted. They had a lot of players, that they had an undrafted kick, and they're talking about this kid. I believe it's Darius Anderson from TCU. He may because this is what I look at. I can say that a coach may like a player, but I look at them salaries. I look at where they sign you, and I look at them guarantees. So if they like you, I feel like they're gonna give you some money. And he was one of the higher people that they gave, I think $10,000 on the guaranteed. So when you see something like that, if you have those three, let's say you got TP, you got Zeke, Jameis, do you see a fourth running back making that roster like a rookie like him?
Well, if this was last year, no. Okay. However, with the new roster changes that I got to become familiar with, it gives guys like those true special teams guys, I think, an opportunity now with it being a 55-man roster instead of a 53 roster, or vice versa, and all those things with practice squad guys. But I mean, the thing about it is training camp is open to all, man. It's open competition. So just because you were drafted or you got a lot of money, like you still got to go in and produce.
Okay, well, let me
and the biggest thing is you bring guys in, good guys, is you bring them in for competition. So the moment you're signed, the moment they sign the kid from TCU, the moment they sign a big time receiver, they're trying to replace those guys. There's scouts on the road watching tape right now for next year's draft. So guys got to understand, as soon as my name is called, this team is trying to replace me. You know, so those are the small things that guys got to understand. You know, as soon as I'm signed, as soon as I walk in this locker room, the organization is trying to replace me. You know?
Yeah.
It's a different way to look at it, yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. So I was frustrated. I'm going to be very honest with you. I was very frustrated when they brought Jason Witten back. Very frustrated. I don't think they should have did it. And I think that, you know, that Garrett guy thing, in my opinion, got swayed over to Witten. And I feel like now, first of all, I understand what he's did with the organization. He's been class. So no disrespect at all from that.
Yeah, we love Jay Witt.
We love Jay Witt. But for real, just like you said, there's a time now, okay?
Yeah.
And I believe last year I wanted to see some Blake Jarwin. And when they brought in Jason Witten, it was a situation where, Jason Witten's only going to come in and play 20% of the snaps, and we're going to let Jarwin work. That was, to me, a lie. I don't feel like that was ever a case where Witten was ever going to be on the bench and Blake Jarwin was going to be playing ahead of Jason Witten. Come on, y'all. Who are we fooling right now? See what I'm saying? That's the kind of things that kind of frustrated with me. And even when we had Ioka on there, I mean, we heard that it's an open competition, but these spots are kind of already kind of set. Now, from your perspective, do you see that the case? I mean, because it happened with Jarwin. Do you see that as the case with, let's say, like with Jeff Heath or some other players that came in that you say there's an open competition, but really is it?
Yeah, I think it's an open competition as far as your QB1. I mean, as far as your guys, you know, so a running back coming in, you know, it's like, okay, cool. I got to go be extra extraordinary and 2-1 has to not play well for me to have a job or have a spot over 2-1. But as far as competition, it's competition at every level. You know, some may be a lot harder than others. So with it, say for the Witten, we'll speak on the Witten situation.
Okay.
The Witten coming back, this entire organization knew how gritty Witten was, how passionate Witt was. So we knew it was going to be some issues, you know, as far as how are we gonna handle 82? You know, because 82 is passionate about everything that he's doing. We knew 82 coming back. We knew like, man, I don't know what's in contract talk. I don't know what front office talking about, but I played with 82 and I was able to coach 82. 82 won snaps. You know?
PT, when he took the toupee off and went bald, you knew it was. You knew he wasn't coming to sit on the sideline, man.
He wasn't coming in to sit on that bench,
no,
dog.
Not at all. But one thing I can say is, indirectly, I think 89 in that group, they definitely learned from him how to be a true pro. You know, and those guys are already pros between Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin. But I personally would have liked to see a little bit more of 89 as well. I think that guy, he's a hell of a ball player, man, and he goes about it the right way. I was fortunate enough. I'm kind of glad, you know, indirectly that Witten did come back because I was able to have him on special teams.
That was your guy, yeah. That was your guy. I'm so impressed with Blake Jarwin. I'm probably the number one Blake Jarwin fan, man. I think he has some of, if not the best hands on the team. I don't think I've watched him drop a ball that hit him in his hands. I mean, he snags it, he catches it, he brings it in quick, and he gets upfield. People think he's slow. I tell them, go watch the game. He game fast.
He's probably one of the most athletic guys on the team.
And that's what everybody says, too.
Yeah, we would do cone drills, things like that, and DB's out there, you know, trying to go over and over just so they can beat his time. So he's a really athletic guy, you know, strong, powerful, can jump, can run. You know, Blake's a hell of an athlete.
I can't wait to see more. We got two Blakes now, by the way. I don't know if you've seen there's another Blake Bell. They signed a tight end number 2 named Blake Bell. He was a former quarterback, so got two athletes.
That's the Oklahoma kid, huh? Played Oklahoma?
One Oklahoma. I think one played at Oklahoma and the other played at Oklahoma State.
Blake Jarwin was Oklahoma State.
The Oklahoma kid will definitely be more of a put his hand in the dirt type of guy, true Y. Yeah.
Yep. That's what he was in Kansas City. He was their blocking tight end.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm excited for Blake Jarwin. But go ahead.
I was just going to ask you. So a lot of people were talking about this Amari Cooper situation. I want to kind of get your thoughts on it, you know, because people were like, man, should you pay him? Does he suck? You know, we had that situation at the end of the year where that was that big controversy where they're saying he took himself out the game. And
what happened with that, man?
Yeah, I need to know. And talk to him, dog. Give it to us straight, dog.
Because I've been arguing.
I want to know. I want to know the truth.
Hey,
what happened in that game?
I have no idea what happened down there, man. I was locked in with special teams.
Oh.
As far as what happened with Coop, man, I don't know. To this day, I still don't know exactly what went on with why he wasn't in the game. Me personally, my best player is going to be in the game. We told everybody to talk about 88. It would have been 12 guys. He's not loud. He's not vocal. You know, so in that situation, it's hard to say whether Coop didn't want to go in. Coop was told not to go in because Coop is just laid back and Coop's on the road with it.
Right. Coop never get. I always hear that Coop don't really never give no kickback.
No, he don't. Not verbally per se. You know, it's different nonverbal things you can see from Amari once you get to learn about who he is as a player and how he operates and how he functions. And that's one of the specialties and the superpowers of a coach. You know, you got to figure out your guys. You got to figure out what makes your guys move and what motivates your guys and how you can get to your guys and get the best out of your guys. How can you change their behaviors and get them to do what you need them to do?
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts, Will?
Well, I'm dealing with the connection issue. You guys are good. We're back on. There was some type of connection issue. That's why I didn't want to say nothing.
You said,
You know,
so
I always try to make sure everything good. Go ahead.
So what do you think about this new staff that just came on, the draft? What are your kind of thoughts? Or you think the Cowboys nailed the draft?
I think they did. I think they had a really good draft. I wasn't as excited for the receiver, Lamb. You know, I didn't think it was a bad pick, but I personally would have thought, cool, let's go defense. But you couldn't go wrong because they end up getting the defensive guys that they wanted anyway. You know, so like I said, it was a great draft for them. That's why I'm glad I'm not a front office or a general manager guy. You know, much respect to Will McClay and Stephen Jones, that entire staff that put in countless hours to go find players, especially at a time like this. You know, when you couldn't get out to the pro days, you couldn't have your visits, you know, so for them to be able to still get out there and get the right type of guys, it still shows that the culture that Garrett has built, they're still pulling on that. You know, even though Garrett's not there, some of the ways that Garrett moved and some of the things that he went by, it's only right for an organization to take what JG did right and keep that in the organization and build on that. You know, so the draft, I was excited about it, you know, to see the guys come in, and that offense is going to be exciting. My thing is I'm ready to see how it comes together. You know, I think I tweeted about, like, how many balls we're playing with. How many footballs are we going to be able to have out there on the field? You know, so
I'm cool with that though.
Right.
I'm cool with that problem to have. I'm cool. I seen them Rams. I seen them Vikings. I seen them Chiefs. I'm cool when I see 3 receiver sets and all of them is nice. I'm cool with having a dog running back and somebody behind him that's a dog. I'm cool with having a dog tight end. I'm cool with all that because, I mean, you can even say yourself, PT, there was games where Cowboys would have 500 yards but only have like 14 points.
Or we lost.
Yeah.
Or we lost and leaving too many points on the board. And I think that was the issue because Dallas would move up and down the field all day, but they end up losing or not, or kicking field goals. And we saw what happened with Maher. You know what I'm saying? And we saw that debacle. What was up with that, dog?
Hey, that's your dog, man.
That's your dog, man. What's up with that?
That's one position. Like I said, as special teams, you know, we didn't play well at all, you know, and I take full accountability for that. We just, and at the kicker position, it's one of those spots that, man, is very fickle. Kickers are a different type of guys. You know, exactly. You can't just go and just rip them, and then you still got to go out and kick. You know, so, and that's the thing is just when do you pull the trigger? You know, when do you make the move? And you can say soon, you can say this, but it's one of those things that we made the move. When we made it, people said it was too late, but then it was a right move, you know, because Forbath came in and he performed really well for us.
I gotta ask you about something about Maher I wanted to say. Now, he had a boot, and a lot of us as fans felt like, you know, and even the coaches, I think Jason Garrett said it one time or two. Is this the truth? When you guys crossed the 50, did things change up a little bit because you had Maher? Like, okay, you know what? We can, you know, we're not going to be as aggressive because we can boot a 60-yarder.
I didn't sit in on offensive meetings, so I can't speak on that. But from a special teams perspective, we knew that once we passed the 50, this guy can put it through the pipes, you know, and he was better putting it through the pipes right after the 50,
Yeah.
getting closer down there, you know. So, you know,
Cool.
let's take a hold of penalty or a personal foul and let's scoot it back so Brett can put it through the pipes. But as far as the kicker position, man, can you please tell me a kicker that wasn't missing last year?
Right.
You know,
It's a kicker.
Yeah. Kickers are kickers. You know, kickers gonna miss. You know,
Well, they got a good one. I know you know Greg Zerline. They call him Legatron.
But if you look at Zerline numbers last year, he missed a ton last year.
Yeah, he struggled last year.
Yeah, he struggled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always thought that maybe when y'all crossed the 50, they felt like, man, he could. We seen him boot 360 yards. That is unheard of. I mean,
yeah, it was
unheard of.
I mean, but you don't win games with field goals though. I'll tell you that. Right. Yeah, you got to get 6, not 3.
And I think with this offense this year, we should get a lot more than 3. Let me ask you something about Michael Gallup, because I know he's the guy that's kind of being forgotten in that receiving core right now by a lot. To me, he reminds me of Dez at the catch point when he throw the ball up. But did he practice did he look like that in practice to you? Is he physical like that, or who does he look like, or what have you?
Every day, you know, every day he's gonna bring it. The way he goes up and attack the ball.
Yes.
The ways he go about his business. And it will be remiss for me to speak on Michael Gallup and not speak on Allen Hurns. You don't see this MG without Allen Hurns. Allen Hurns was the guy that came in last year, MG's rookie year, and took MG on his wing and taught him how to be a true.
Great insight.
Nice.
So the Michael Gallup that you've seen from the Rams playoff game 2 years ago, the 1,100-yard receiver, was because of Allen Hurns and Michael Gallup would tell you the same thing.
Hurns.
You know, Hurns came in, he put his arm around him, he taught him how to be a true pro, how to go about his business, how to work out, how to eat, what to do. You know, and MG, like you said, he's one of those guys that's being slept on. I'm like, how? Why? You know, do we see what this guy do on a daily basis? You know, how he goes and attack the ball, how he makes the big plays, and how coaches believe in him. You know, how we believe in him. Throw the ball, you know, give him a shot. How Dak believes in him, regardless of coaches. You know, despite that, how Ford believes in 13. You know, so that's much respect for Michael Gallup, and I think he'll have another outstanding year. And he's also that type of guy that's even kill. He don't have to say much. He don't have to be verbal, but he's gonna go out there and play the game the right way. And again, a Garrett guy. You know,
for
a Garrett guy.
For sure. I got a question for one of my members, PT, and this is from the Lunatic. It says, seemed like motion was used in some games more than other. Why was that? And was that by JG design? And also, why was there not more two-back formations with him and Pollard?
When you say motions used, I'm not for sure what he mean by that, because on this level, you got to have self-motivated players. You can't expect for a coach.
No, I think he's talking about like motion as far as sending guys in motion.
Oh,
like
motion.
Like when we played when you seen us playing like the Dolphins, guys were in motion, guys were doing different kind of sets, and then you see us play against a really tough team. You're like, where all that damn motion go? How come they're not doing nothing? Now you look like they're running straight up the middle with Zeke. Why was that? Because that's where people were thinking, complaining, like Cowboys were putting it close to the vest when you got in these tight games. All that hoo-ha freelancing offense goes out the door when it gets close in the game, and that's what people were complaining about Jason Garrett.
Yeah. So, well, one thing about, you know, the NFL and coaching, where it's different between maybe high school, college, anything like that. As far as schematics, you're so locked in on trying to get your schematics down that you're not. So with me, I wouldn't sit in an offensive meeting or offensive room to understand what they're going into the game plan with, and vice versa. Or I wouldn't be in a defensive meeting knowing what they're going into game plan with. So you can speculate and say, okay, we should have did this. But as a special teams coach,
you focused on your job.
I'm focused on mine. You know, like I'm missing field goals, so I can't worry about why we're not going in motion. You know,
for sure.
So
That's a good point.
I can't worry about that. You know, I gave up a block punt. I can't worry about why the defense is not playing cover 3 on certain times. You know, so that's the mindset you got to have as a coaching staff.
Now, PT, we throwing some stuff at you right here, so I appreciate you, man.
I'm ready for it.
I appreciate you.
It's coming. Yo got fired. Yo got flamed.
You was a special teams coach, right?
Yep.
And I think the most controversial special teams play of the year happened at home against Minnesota, And I need to hear it because we heard Tavon Austin and we didn't heard the coaches. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, at the end of the game, we held Vikings to a 3-and-out. We still had some seconds left, punted it. We saw the still shot. Oh, it looked good for Tavon, but he caught a fair catch. What happened? Just kind of give us a clarification.
We as a coaching staff, we dropped the ball on that.
Okay.
Tay only did what he was supposed to do, and that's what we told Tay to do. So we as a coaching staff dropped the ball on that. Nothing against Tavon Austin. Like I said, and I'll take full accountability for it because I'm one of the guys that line Tay up, So we as a coaching staff, we didn't operate how we should have because we was thinking one thing, however, what we thought was wrong, and that it should have been, Tay should have had an option, and we didn't give Tay an option. We as a coaching staff told Tay what to do, and Tay did exactly what he was told to do. With us trying to preserve time on the clock, we didn't want to Tay get the ball and go back and forth, make guys miss, and then get tackled at the 1-yard line. We don't have any time left. So that was the thing that going to the coaching staff, like, do we have enough time? Do we have this? So that was one of the things as a coaching staff, man, we dropped the ball on. Tay did exactly what he was supposed to do.
So that was one of those, you got to make a quick decision right now. You don't got time to.
And it's one of those things that you learn from. It's one of those things that you got to work on during the week. So we got caught with our pants down, having not worked on that situation. So after that's like, okay, cool. Let's work on these situations in case they come up again. So I guarantee you, we took it for all other 31 teams in the NFL to say, okay, cool. Let's look at the Dallas Cowboys situation and let's learn from this situation. So that's one of those situations that, we got to go back in the lab and learn from it and just take it for what it was, be accountable for it. And we didn't make the right decision in that split time for Tavon Austin. Of course, Tay takes the blame. Why did he fair catch? No, Tay did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, so Keith Quinn was a special teams coach. I think he's back with the team in a different. I think he's a scout now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What was Keith Quinn like? Because obviously Cowboys fans it's left a bad taste in our mouth. But he wasn't a special teams coach prior to the last 2 years.
Well, he was. He actually worked on the Rich Bisaccia, one of the best special team coaches, to ever step between the grass, And he was KO's assistant KO was Rich's assistant for like maybe 4 or 5 years. But before that, he was on the offensive side of the ball. So KO is one of the hardest workers. He knows the game. He knows the X and O's. He knows all that. So there was nothing that KO didn't know. It was he was a young coordinator. So as a young coordinator, you're gonna take your lumps. You're gonna take your bruises. You're gonna take your growing pains as a young coordinator. The same thing with Kellen. Everybody came out with Kellen and Kellen's great. And then he fall off and it's like, it's just because he's playing sorry teams. No, like you're gonna take your lumps. Any coordinator gonna take the lumps. So McVay, he's the best ever to do it. And then come in and now he's taking his lumps. So it's about making adjustments. Whether it's adjustments from play to play, series to series, quarter to quarter, game to game, year to year. You sit in, you self-scout, and you evaluate yourself, and you make your adjustments.
And to be fair to not only Keith Quinn, but you and all the special teams coaches, the special teams unit in Dallas, it wasn't just last year it's been struggling. It's been struggling for a good number of years. So, with a number of different coaches on special teams. So that could be something that we have to look at beyond the specific unit and maybe look further, look higher. But I know that McCarthy coming in as presser, he said, "Listen, man, we're gonna take this serious." And he went out and got. I don't know if you know John Bones.
Yeah, I know Bones. Yeah, I know Bones. Bones kept me up many nights scouting against Bones and trying to figure out what Bones is gonna do. So he's
he's that complicated, huh?
Yeah, he is. He's a fun guy. From playing against him as a player and then coaching against him as a coach.
You don't know what he's gonna do.
You don't, and that's the beauty of it, and what he does it well. He allows players to go out and play, have fun, and be who they are. So I'm excited for that special teams group, especially the players, guys that I was able to coach and mentor for the 2 years I was there to be able to go out there with a guy like Bones and get it done.
I'm not gonna lie. I want to see Tavon Austin back with Bones. I do. I don't think they're gonna do it, but I would love to see him back because he had great special teams years under him. in St. Louis.
He did. You know, and that's just who Tay is. You know, Tay's an explosive player, man. We get the ball in hand, you know, and his punt return and what wasn't what it was, you know. And like I said, we as a staff, I'll take accountability for that, for not putting Tay in the right positions or even getting it out of Tay. You know? But you know, he's still a dominant player. He still got it in him.
I'm glad you answered that honestly, man. Salute to you, PT.
Cause see, a lot of people try to run from it. So salute to you, dog. Cause you know what, that's real stand up. Because a lot of people won't say that. They'll say all kind of other stuff, and you're like, yeah, all right. But hey, I got a quick question. A couple people in the group, the Lunatic and Brandon Griffin, are asking about Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Because they basically, I mean, we saw how he was good, and then he went from good to like wow, and you're like, what's up, Law?
Yeah, Law's in. I got to move some things around. Go ahead, y'all good.
So what's up with Chris Jones? Is he hurt? What's going on? Because he was really good, and then he has not been good the last couple of years.
Yeah, Jones is going through nagging injuries. You know, nagging injury and never truly got to rest. You know, he's a very stubborn guy, and that's also his strength. You know, so it'd be times at practice we'd tell Jones relax. You know, but Jones wouldn't. Jones would always push the envelope. You know, I think he's still a hell of a player. You know, and once he gets healthy and back to where he needs to be, he'll be the punter that everybody expects him to be, especially with Bones. You know, so people are like, oh, Bones is going to cut him. I guarantee you, Bones is licking his chops to have Chris Jones as a punter.
He athletic.
It's my point exactly. He can throw the football. He can run with the ball. You know, and we know what he can do when he's healthy punting the ball. So with that type of weapon with Bones, he's going to exploit him, and it's going to be exciting to see Jones get back healthy. You know, and be able to punt the ball and things like that, and also just. I mean, people look at punts down inside the 20. You know, if you're going 3 and out and you're not moving the ball, it's hard to put the ball inside the 20. You know, so there's a lot of people say, oh, well, his numbers changed. He wasn't putting the ball inside the 20, but different aspects of the game, all that goes into special teams and how we punt, where we punt from, what kind of punt we would do. But the biggest thing was Jones was dealing with things, nagging injuries. So once Jones get back healthy and able to rest up, he'll be the Chris Jones you guys know of.
Weren't you there? I believe it was 2018. I could be wrong. Could be 2017 when they played the Raiders and then the Lions, and he took off a couple times. And then when he laid out the Lions returner, we were calling him the Punisher.
Yeah. Chris Jones, he's a really good athlete, man. And things that Bones want to do from a punt perspective, Chris Jones is the guy to get it done.
Man, I've never in my life did special teams like tape until we got Bones Fossil. So I went back and looked at what's their punter name? Hecker, yeah. And oh my goodness, like you said, if he get his hands on a healthy Chris Jones, because when he's healthy, he was good. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yes, what up, Law?
We got Law Nation in the building.
Law Nation in the building.
I hear all of this fire. So I said, let me tiptoe in here, man. Planner, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm great, man. How about yourself?
Man, you looking good over there, man. I
appreciate it.
I'm holding it together, man. I'm trying to get it going. You know how it goes, man. So I know I'm at the tail end. I know you've been about 45, 50 minutes strong.
We rolling.
Y'all rolling? You good? You got energy? You got your energy?
Good.
Everything? All right. Did y'all talk about Ezekiel Elliott and the use of Tony Pollard already?
We touched on it a little. We touched on Zeke, but not really TP. And I was saying that are you going to see more of him? And I want to ask you right quick, PT. You said Tavon Austin. Now, if he stays on the roster, you wouldn't want to see like a CeeDee Lamb back there, or even because I want to see TP on the kick return. I think that's what he's good at.
No doubt.
But punt return, you don't think about somebody like a CeeDee Lamb doing that?
Man, if Lamb can do it with how explosive
he can do it. I believe he can do it.
He
can do it.
Yeah. He's definitely the guy. You know, it's hard to talk about Tay right now because Tay's not on the roster.
Right.
You know, so we got to speak from, you know, Lamb being on the roster and him doing it. But as far as Tony Pollard, man, he was one of the guys that I was able to evaluate and beat the table. Mm-hmm. And I was so excited to bring him in because I seen just his versatility and then also what he did as from a kick return. 7 kick return touchdowns in college football is unbelievable.
NFL trying to kill it though, man.
So to do that, and again, that's another area where we could have definitely excelled is turning him loose, giving him the green light.
Mm-hmm.
You know, giving him that Cordell Patterson treatment. Like if you got to put your heels on the back of the goal line, get it and go.
Yeah.
You know, because he's definitely that type of dude. Like he's a dude now.
Well, let me ask you this though. As far as from a philosophy aspect, we know we had Coach Gary last year, right? And he's gone. What was his main philosophy? Because I looked at that Miami's game and I was like, that is what we should be. That is what we should be. When last year when we played against Miami, it was like
carries.
Tony Pollard / Ezekiel, the main man, Ezekiel Elliott / Tony Pollard. But then the next week, the
TP,
Saints,
0 snaps.
Zero snaps.
Yeah.
Can you just give us some background information on that? I don't want you to spill out everything.
No, you're
but
good.
Spill
You're
out
good.
most of the things.
As far as JG, man, he's the type of head coach that's gonna let his coordinators coordinate. You know, so yeah, he's not gonna step on anyone's toes and tell them what they should and shouldn't be doing. You know, and then like I said, the Saints defense was, in much respect to them, like they came out and they played. You know, they ball well with their D line. Like we got whooped up front that game.
Yes,
you know, and anybody said so. I don't care if it was LaDainian Thompson's backfield. We got whooped. You know, that game, and they just came out and the Saints whooped us.
They did.
You know, they played well on the back end. You know, I think Gallup was out that game, so of course they can go into their defense and just favor Amari Cooper, and we didn't have anybody else to go ahead and make those, you know, as spectacular and excel in the position that we needed them to. But they came out and they played as well. So as far as week to week, what goes on in offensive meeting rooms, I'm not sitting there, so I can't speculate on well, they said they're going to do this and they didn't do that. But of course, we all want more Tony Pollard. But I talked to him earlier, you know, you got to be ready to take what comes with a rookie, because we get to the Eagles game, crunch time, get down there, red zone, you know, and TP put it on the ground. You know, so but when I say he's a dude, and I'm sure and I hope that Kellen, McCarthy, Skip Pete find ways to collectively, like I said, I don't know how many footballs I'm gonna be able to play with now, because we're talking about CeeDee Lamb. We want more Tony Pollard. We want more Zeke. We want more Favre. We want more MG. We want more. Like, Blake Jarwin. How many footballs do we have?
Yeah.
Man, we want to hit them from all angles, man. And that's why I'm looking at it like it's all about. You play Madden. I know it's a game that a lot of people say, but do you play Madden?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen somebody so cold? It don't matter who you give them, and they figure out ways to score. Yeah. That is what I want, and I know this is far-fetched, but that is what I want Kellen Moore to look at this thing as. It's like I got weapons on every side of the ball as it relates to the offense. I think that we should utilize Tony Pollard a little bit more. Like you said, he's a dog inside the slot, and also create that mismatch of using CeeDee Lamb as well. So I think that we should be able to do those things.
Right, we can. And the thing about it is, in defense, for Kellen Moore and any coordinator in NFL, like Bruce Lee said, would rather practice one kick 10,000 times than 10,000 kicks one time. So if you go into NFL practice and just look at the breakdown of it, some periods only 6 plays. You know, so we got to figure out what we're good at and get good at what we're good at, you know, and build on that. It's hard to say, okay, cool, we're going to go from every angle, this, but when do you have time to practice that? You know, so that's the big, and that's the creative part about it. You know, that is get creative mindsets like your Kellen Moores and Kellen. As far as people saying, yeah, Kellen got it all, I guarantee you, Kellen's sitting at home stressed like, sheesh. Like,
what I got to do?
It's a different type of stress. It's like that college kid coming out, a high school kid, a 5-star kid that's recruited by everybody. You can be recruited by everybody or nobody. It's 2 different stresses. You know, so now Kellen has everybody. Now you got to figure out what he got to do to sit down, because people think it's easy just because he have a roster full of studs to go score 90 points. No, you still got to figure out how you going to divide this ball around. How you going to keep these guys happy, and how you going to manage these guys throughout a 16 season, hopefully 20 game season.
So what should be the identity of this team then?
Man, you got to run the ball. Zeke
run first.
You know, I think you have to. You know, I think that's the identity of the team, man. How it's built. You know, with those guys up front. You know, I think you run the ball first. I think any offense that's your motive, run the ball. Because if you can run the ball against that's the most demoralizing thing ever to a defense is taking it. taking and can't stop the run. So of course, Mahomes, everybody say, "Oh, well, what about the Chiefs? They didn't run the ball. They didn't do this."
It's a different
Yeah,
But
check
cat
out
out
that
there.
Super Bowl.
Right.
That Super Bowl, they ran that rock. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
and then when they needed to make the big plays, it was a running back that made the big plays.
Isn't it ironic?
Williams again, big plays.
Football is an interesting game, right? They try to bury y'all position, and then the Super Bowl, the MVP should have been a running back.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Let's just be real. I love Pat,
No
but
doubt,
the
no
MVP
doubt.
should have been Damon Williams.
5 years from now, they don't even know who he. I hate to throw the man name
Yeah.
out there. They probably like who?
Yeah, he should have been MVP, like Larry Brown.
Yeah. When the Chiefs needed a big play, and Mahomes wasn't Mahomes.
He was not
You
Mahomes.
know,
He was Mahomes
Mahomes wasn't Mahomes
for 3.5 quarters. He was Mahomes.
It was Williams that gave him that spark.
Yeah,
But you know the flip side of all of that, fam. When you look at the collective picture, the Chiefs, in order for them to win the Super Bowl, they had to stop the run.
Right,
You
they
had to
play
stop the
defense. They had to play
49ers. You had-
defense.
The
No doubt.
49ers came in that
Irony
thing
in
red
football.
hot with the running.
No doubt.
Yeah,
And then
so
when
that's the
they
flip side.
made Jimmy G throw the ball, that's something he wasn't used to.
Mhm.
Something he wasn't used
I
to.
got an interesting question for you. You know what's crazy? You get PT on here. He was on a special teams coach, and you
Yeah.
think about all these special team nuggets that pop in your head that we don't really get a chance to dive into. So I got you here, so I got to try to get it from you. 2 years ago, I think it might have been a 3-5 year, the 3-5 start off year.
Yep, 2
LP
years ago.
Ladiseur, ain't that how you say it?
Yep.
Ladiseur, I know that's your guy. You played with them literally, and then you coached with them. But it ticked me off when in Washington, okay,
Redskins.
the Redskins game.
That
What-
snap.
Is that something, the little hitch? I don't know what that was about, but does he do that all the time, or did he commit a penalty?
Oh, he do it all the time. Let
That's
me tell you
what And they threw the flag.
But one thing about special teams is you got to find that advantage. So we stand and watching hours of film to figure out how we can get advantage. So kudos to the Redskins for being snitches.
They probably said
They were snitch.
Straight dry
They were
snitches.
straight snitch.
So what they do is they go to the official, like, okay, cool, watch him. He does this. And every
that's
snapper does it. Every center does
The center does it.
Everyone gets a comfortable and adjust the ball. And LP does. LP did the same exact thing the next play, and they didn't call it. So it was just one of those things that,
They
man,
got
we was
us,
in
man.
Washington.
They got
and
us.
The Redskins.
That's the
So that's what it was. But no, LP's one of the greatest to ever do it.
Oh yes, if there was a Hall of Fame for long snappers, he'd be in.
Oh,
it,
he'll definitely be there.
for sure. I don't think he ever had any infraction prior to that.
None.
That's
Been to the
crazy.
been to the Pro Bowl. Haven't missed a game. Just great guy. Leader on the field as well.
I had to ask.
Man, he been there like 200 years.
Yeah.
He been putting that grind on for real. I got one quick question right quick. I know we've been flooding you with them. I apologize.
Yeah, he
Nah, we great, man. I'm
man,
enjoying
he's
it.
been
We've been
killing
bashing
it.
your head with
Hey,
these
Law,
questions,
I
man.
don't
We
know if
we
you
came in here with ammunition.
Nah,
I
I'm
told you
enjoying
now.
it.
We was swinging on PT.
We came in like you ready?
I come in like
He
off the
came
top
off
rope.
the top turbo, go right in there. All right, are you ready, PT? Here about 5 of them.
Now we bring in the law. You know what I mean? I come into this mug. But go ahead, Jay. What you go ask? The
I
young
just got one of
PT
my
over there?
people's. I know we kind of talked about it, but he just a $2 holler from John Matthews. I gotta give him a shout out. He says, "Do you feel that Garrett held the players back?"
Yes.
Ooh.
When I
Talk to
say
me.
when we say held it back, you mean
Whoa,
like
I
did he
expect
speak
that.
up for him?
Okay.
I wanna you tell me in your whole opinion because I want to hear what you're saying with that.
Yeah, I really did. I feel, and I
How
say
you
that-
doing, guys?
And hold on before you finish that because I want you to
Hey,
say
Law, you
because
got
you
Yeah.
said something about coaches and players shouldn't be together at games and stuff. I seen an interview
Yeah,
a couple
yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
relate, jump in that with that too.
Yeah,
Fire.
so that was one thing from my perspective that I personally, as a coach, I don't like. If it's not extended into the entire team, I'm not for the let's just take Joe Blow out and we're just gonna sit. Now if Joe Blow is the only guy that said they wanted to go, cool. But I feel from a team vibe, it should be those moments that everybody should at least have that option to say no. I don't want to go in and do this during the season, off season, anything like that. So that's just me. Every player have their different relationships with coaches and things like that. But just from my perspective, if I'm a head guy, I'm not gonna just isolate and take different guys out without extending that invitation to my entire team, my entire group. If I'm an offensive guy, of course I don't have to be out with the defense guys, but at least I got to extend that invitation to my entire offensive crew, and that's just me as a coach. That's my perspective on things. So that was one of the things that I didn't favor. I think it brings kind of separation to the team,
Right.
And my perspective, you see just one guy getting out, and you didn't even get the invite. You're like, damn, I thought we were one team, so that's my perspective on things that I didn't personally favor. And
that happened during your time, your earlier years with the Cowboys?
Yeah. That happened often, and that just showed me the evolution of JG, because it went from that to when I was there in Dallas playing, we didn't have a leadership committee. We didn't have that. It was JG way and no way. JG way, JG way, JG way. But when I came here and I'm coaching for JG now, and we got leadership committees that's of the players. So the players come together and say, JG, we want to do this or we don't want to do this. So they're able to bring any situation to JG and let him know, hey, in practice, we don't want to do it this way. We want to do it this way. We gave that leadership role to the locker room and allowed them to police themselves. Where far as when I was playing, we didn't have that. So therefore I give him respect of evolving and understanding that like the player should have a voice. And I know you asked about, do he go to bat for his players? 100%. I can't and I won't, speak on what he's done, but I tell you this, he go to bat for his players. 100%.
Speaking of that, you was talking about going back for his player. There was a certain guy, and I don't know if you guys touched on this already. He was talking about Jason Garrett guys.
Yeah, that's the first thing we talked about.
That was first. We hit that. We hit that home run out the park.
I'm so late.
But no, he explained it in the way of the right kind of guy way.
Okay.
And I don't want to speak for you, PT, but I just kind of real quick with Law, it wasn't this negative connotation really until the Dez interview. I'm just be honest.
Right.
But if you want to kind of quickly tell him the Jason Garrett guy is.
Yeah, but like Steele was saying, man, the Garrett guy is that's who you want your team to be made up of. Those are the type, the culture, the characteristics, the demeanor that you want your team made up of. When your entire team be a Garrett guy, you would want them to, but it's not. So it's your job as a coach, as a leadership to make sure that we're getting the right type of guys in here and also the right type of guys out of here. Whatever they may consist of, and that's one thing that a lot of people knock the Garrett guy, saying, "Oh, it's favoritism."
You read my mind.
But the thing about favoritism is my favorite guys are the guys that are doing things right. So if anyone say there's not favoritism, that's a lie. It's favoritism everywhere. You're gonna favor the guys that's doing things the right way, and that's in any organization, any corporation. The guys that's doing the right things the right way is the guys you're going to favor. I guarantee you, Phil Knight, he has his type of guys. Whoever's in Knight,
Phil Knight guys,
the right way. Like I said, I keep bringing up Bill Parcells. You got to be a tough guy to be a Parcells guy.
You can't have no thin skin, because you call him. May he rest in peace. He call him old boy. What do you call him? Terry
Glenn.
Oh, Terry.
He call it.
And even with that, even when he came over to Dallas, what was they talking about him bringing? His guys.
His guys.
Yeah.
His guys.
Vinny Testaverde
wasn't a negative.
I mean, he brought like Keyshawn. He brought him.
Linebackers.
Richie Anderson. He brought him. He brought the big tackle.
It's just like the Raiders. If you can run really, really fast, you got a job in Vegas now.
Oh, yeah.
You got a job.
Or if you're a badass,
really fast, you got a job.
Or if you're a badass.
Yeah, that's the Al Davis thing. Al Davis don't give a damn. If you run a 4.27 and you projected to go in the fourth,
you get
8th overall. Welcome to Las Vegas.
And now with us, it was like if you went to Boise, you on it. You made it.
Man, because if you look at it, the Boise guys
Chris Peterson,
or
man.
Garrett guys.
All them Boise guys were Garrett guys.
They were Garrett guys. I mean, you got, of course, you got your D-Law. But my thing is with D-Law, I think with Crawford going down and that leadership of that room not being in there, I think that was kind of what affected that room. But if you just look at the Boise guys that we've had here, like all of it. You got guys even like Darian Thompson, Cedric Wilson, guys that come in and just work their tail off and take advantage of every opportunity they got. And those are Garrett guys.
It is refreshing that you are explaining that, because I'm gonna be completely honest. When you heard that term, and I'm just a fan, so I'm not there. But when you heard that term after, Dez left, it definitely to me was negative immediately. It felt like I call it the good old boy club or the buddy system. It felt like that when you heard that term. But then when you kind of explain, it's like, okay, that makes sense. It's not nothing to do with the buddy system. It's just I want a hard worker. I want a guy that plays this way and that comes and works his ass off. And if that is what that is, a right kind of guy, Garrett guy, whatever the hell you want to call it, give me 56 of them or whatever.
Yeah, but the only thing that threw me for a loop on everything, and I, kind of feeling good old Dez, but the only thing that kind of made me scratch my head was when he called out Sean Lee, when he said Snake Lee.
Yeah.
Give me some. Y'all talking about it already?
No.
No, we ain't
talking about that.
Yeah. Just one thing from a player perspective, and you don't do that. You don't.
So that was a big no.
My thing
that was a no.
That's a no go. Like shoot all the shots you want at JG front office,
Scotland,
scouting, Will, like all that. But one thing as a player, man, you don't do that. You don't go into the locker room. What even. I don't know what he was going at, or even if he felt slighted by Sean Lee. You call Sean Lee.
Call him up, right?
You don't
that
put
caught us by surprise, PT.
Yeah,
and it was a live interview. It was a live interview.
I was waiting for him to say, "Oh, my bad, not him, but somebody else's at least."
Right.
He was like,
and like I said, and we dealt with that as a staff because that was like right in the middle of training camp. Wow. So Sean Lee could have definitely went back and reported and said this is it, but no, like that's a Garrett guy. So that culture of no one ever went back at Dez at all. Everyone said, cool, we got to lock in, we got to focus. And that's one thing that Garrett has. Not only Garrett, and I think Garrett does a good job because with the Cowboys, there's so many distractions. So especially playing in Dallas, so he was really good at eliminating or decreasing distractions as much as possible and not letting those distractions and things creep in and affect the team.
That's one thing I will give him credit for, is being able to handle everything that comes with playing under or coaching under Jerry Jones. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
It is not your normal organization.
No, it is by far. Anything that happened in Cincinnati, oh well, it happened in Dallas. The same thing. You already know that stuff has blown up 25 times.
We see what's happening in Baltimore. If that happened in Dallas, my
man.
God.
We was just talking about that the other day. Lord have mercy. That'd be a 2-year talk.
The crazy thing about it is when it happened, they're like, well, maybe we can get Earl Thomas now.
We try to skeep out of there.
I'm surprised.
Dallas gonna fall in the equation some kind of way. We're gonna get in there.
I'm surprised they didn't say former Dallas Cowboy free agent target Earl Thomas. I'm surprised. Seriously, man. Seriously. Yeah. But I imagine if that happened. Oof.
Oh my goodness, man. So, man, when we look at these things, man, we listen to all of the 4-letter network, like the Skip Baylesses of the world, the Stephen A. Smith. All of them, they fold a little bit, but at least Shannon Sharp, when they bring the players on, he kind of hold their feet to the fire. How you feel about those talk shows in the morning time? Do you listen to them?
Was on.
Man, I'm for all of them, man. Like I said, I don't ever mind a player going in and talking. My thing is, I just don't believe in players talking about other players. Like
personally,
I can't get down with that. And I don't even like players that's commentators now even questioning the guy about what goes on in the locker room, knowing that you was just in a locker room. So it's so I have my views about the Ray Lewis and the Jerry Rice. When those guys get behind the mic, I'm like, come on now. You was once in that locker room, so you got to keep that same code. That code is throughout. That's why I respect guys like Marcus Spears. And he's one of the up and coming, one of the biggest guys doing it, because Spears still hold true to that code. A lot what goes on in that locker room, man, it stays in the locker room. So I don't care about guys coming on talking about front office or coaching staffs or anything like that. But to get on there and drag guys in your locker room You know, like
That what your guy did, Orlando.
That's what I said.
Yeah. No comment.
Yeah, I tell you what about Odo, man. Oh, love the Cowboys.
He loved the Cowboys.
He love the
yeah.
Cowboys. But woo, man, when he go on that damn show, it is fireworks.
Yeah, but you know, Standard's been like that from A1 day one. I mean, can we not believe
they call
that?
him the Grouch over at DallasCowboys.com.
Grouch or the Grinch.
But the thing about it is that's what made Scan
Yes.
an 11-year player.
Yes.
Yeah, the edge.
His gift can be perceived as his curse because that was Scan.
He played with
Scan was going to do that.
He played with that. I'm a 5th round pick chip on my shoulder for
his whole career,
for like 10 years, whatever it was. He was in Dallas, and you know I respect.
The first time I walked in the locker room, I was like, "Who is this guy?" You know.
So he had to be what, 180, 185?
Yeah. I was like, what? I was like, why is he so angry every day? Every day.
Man, we need more of that.
Scan was upset.
I'm cool with
Scan was
that.
upset.
Hey, were you there?
Upset,
were you there when was it Jenkins? Were you there?
Mike, yeah, Mike Jenks. Yep. When we drafted Mo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you was there when all of them was there. So how was that battle though? I know we going all the way back, and I think ultimately got that deal out of them.
I like Michael Jenkins.
I did too.
I like Michael Jenkins.
Man, it was none of those things. Like as the players, we didn't understand why we drafted a number 1 corner and we had Mike Jenks. You know, we didn't understand as a player staff. Like I said, our loyalty was to Jenks. You know, but it wasn't any kind of unhealthy relationship when Mo walked in the locker room. As soon as Mo walked in the locker room, everyone embraced Mo, including Mike Jenks, you know, and put his arms around Mo and guided Mo to where he needed to go. Now, did Mike Jenks still feel slighted from front office? Hell yeah, he did. You know, and he made that known to front office. Mm-hmm. But we as a team knew, like, shoot, we got your back, Jenks. We got your back, and we still loving Mo. And that's the beauty of an NFL locker room, because you can do both. Yeah, it's a brotherhood, 100%. Like, Jenks, we backing you, and Mo, we supporting you.
We passed up on some dogs.
Well, that's a great segue actually to this, because before we let you go, I gotta ask you about it. You're talking about being able to, you know, side with the player in the sense of you my dog, and then have that understanding that this is a business, right? Well, that's going on right now with Dak Prescott. You could kind of speak a little bit on it. Last year, Dak was there, Zeke wasn't. We talked about Zeke earlier, but now the tables are a little bit flipped where Dak isn't under contract, and I know COVID-19 is happening right now, so it's a little tougher to get a grasp on things. But what's your take on the Dak Prescott thing right now?
Oh, it's the same thing. I feel Dak deserves every penny that he wants. So I'll go ahead and put it on the table right now. Every penny that Dak is asking for, he
say it loud and for everybody in the back.
and he should get it. And everybody in the locker room feels the same exact way, that Dak deserves every penny that he's asking for. Of course, it's logistics of things and ins and outs of what Stephen Jones and Jerry's on the front office is dealing with. So I've never wrote a contract, you know, so I understand that it's their side of it and the logistics side of it. But if you're asking me personally, I think Dak deserves every penny that he's asking for. You know, as far as just speaking on how the locker room feel about it, it's the same way with Zeke. You know, like no one ever doubted Zeke. We knew we had to make sure we still went out every day at work and got things done so that when 2-1 comes back, things will pick up. You know, and it was funny, the day 2-1 came back, we was back at the Star, you know, and he was walking like he was looking so tired. And a lot of people was like, oh, is he out of shape? 2-1 was like, to us, we knew 2-1 was just mentally exhausted. He was mentally exhausted because he wasn't able to be out there with his folks.
Man, I'm glad
that's what was killing him. That's what was keeping him up all night, just because he couldn't be out there with his brothers. You know, he couldn't be out there with GB and the running back coach and his coaching staff in their room. So he was frustrated. He was exhausted mentally because he couldn't do what he wanted to do and get out there with his boys. And the entire locker room knew it. So no one spoke on it. No one spoke negatively on 2-1. Oh, he ain't here. He holding himself. No, we all understood it. And you're able to separate the business part of the office and then what's going on in the locker room. Even from a coaching staff, like, we understand, like, we don't speak on that.
Right. I mean, you were in the locker room with Dak, and you were in the locker room with Tony. So you got a chance to see two franchise quarterbacks at the helm in Dallas. Can you kind of speak on that a little bit? Like the control, I don't want to say control, but like how the locker room kind of came around those guys or Dak specifically?
Man, I speak on it just when I spoke about how JG would go out with Romo, and we will see that,
Right.
and kind of like locking, like, but with Dak, I think Dak is more of a personal guy. He's more of a locker room, like more of an energy guy than Rowe was, and that's just their demeanors. But I think guys get behind 4 before they get behind 9.
You ain't the first person to say that.
I was just about to bring up Jason Hatcher. Jason Hatcher, here it comes, because he's the first. He was the one that was real vocal about and what you're saying. The exact saying the exact same things that you're saying, that Romo going out with the coach at games. He mentioned that. And he said people in the locker room did not like that. And he was saying that he didn't feel, he said he felt like Dak Prescott was more of a leader than Tony Romo. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree 100%. And that's not discrediting Romo anyway. So I'm not gonna speak down on Romo. I'm just gonna speak up on Dak.
Got you.
Dak leadership is contagious, man.
I love hearing that, man.
I don't care who you are, man. He's gonna sit down. He's gonna play dominoes. He's gonna play spade. He's gonna go out there and throw touchdowns. He's that fun guy to be around. I don't care what we're doing, man. Shooting this shit, just having fun. Like, he's that contagious guy in the locker room where he can sit down and vibe with the defensive guys, clown with the defensive guys, come back to offensive guys, go down with the special team guys, kick punch, throw balls, run around the offensive line. Like, he's very contagious throughout that entire organization. And with Rowe, you just didn't have that same vibe with Rowe. You didn't have that Dak is going to get out there with whoever, wherever, whenever, and go to war for his boy.
That confirms
good nuggets, man.
That confirms it.
That confirms there was an article in Dak's rookie year, and a rookie, by the way, came in and he not say took over the locker room, but he what's the word? Captivated the locker room. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Right.
And there was an article that came out and said, the difference between the two is that Dak Prescott, like you just said, he can be with the offensive guys and he can go right on the other side of the locker room and kick it with the defensive tackle. Yeah. And defensive tackle room or what have you, and it's just like nothing. And then you look into Dak and you see that, he has a degree in something about behavior, leader management,
psychology, and all of that
some type
stuff.
of leader management behavior degree, and you can see it. He just knows how to connect, and you're confirming it.
Man, one thing I found out amazing about Dak is just his mental toughness. I don't think he gets enough credit with that. Everybody talks about his mental toughness of what he do between games. Like, imagine a rookie, Mississippi State, was it fourth round, coming in and having to play. Tony Romo got hurt, and that's cool because Rose hurt. But now Rose comes back, and you're in Dallas, and you have to dethrone Tony Romo.
Wow.
And he never cracked. I remember talking to him his rookie year, and I was like, "What now?" That was the first question I asked.
Like, what now?
What now? I mean, you came in your rookie year, you balled out, you dethroned. What now? And he's lived up to it. He's answered that question every day before every game, preseason, playoff. Dak goes through an entire team, staff, trainers, and shakes everybody's hand.
Right. Wow. Man, you saying some good stuff. You saying some good stuff, especially out there in Oxnard. You know how they blow the horn and he goes around and he signs the people have to pull him away from the people. Stop him from signing the deals out there. So you speaking truth right there, fam.
As Dak Prescott, man. And you can't put a price tag on that.
No, you can't.
That after leadership, you can't put a price tag on.
This is the things that we're trying to tell some of these fans is that, he's still, I know this sounds crazy because he's a 4-year quarterback. He's still 26, 27. That's fairly young in a quarterback's lifespan. These guys are playing to 38, 39 years old. And not only is he improving on the field, because he is improving on the field. Okay, guys, not you, BT, but the guys out there, people saying that Dak isn't, this good quarterback. But not only is he improving on the field, he is amazing in that locker room and off the field, and that is half the battle as a quarterback because you can be Jay Cutler with the arm, but nobody was going to war for Jay Cutler.
And I'm gonna play for
right.
I mean, just
shout out to Jay Cutler though for his wife's situation.
This is example. Just say.
Shout out to you, big dog. Tell him to get a job.
I mean, you can look at the allegations in Phillip, but allegations in Phillip about guys that just don't want to play for wins. And we
never hear that in Dallas.
And we can say they're rumors, but you guys come and you hear guys saying it, but then you look at it on tape, like this may be true.
Right.
You know, it's where there's smoke, there's fire.
I was about to say.
You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, you get a guy like Nick Foles come in, they go to the Super Bowl, and then they saying guys don't want to play for wins. You know, so it's just that vibe that with the guy under the hump, he got to be the guy that guys are pulling for.
PT, you finna get so much hate mail, man.
Hey, I'm ready for it.
You ready for it?
I see him on Twitter. He ain't worried about that.
He about
go
that action
ham on Twitter. That's why I loved it.
Yeah.
He about that
That's
action.
how I found out, because I was like,
I
I seen a couple of them tweets. I said, oh, shoot. Gotta get Philly Phil on the show.
You know,
Gotta get PT on the show. He going hard over here.
I ain't worried about that.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were gonna fold a little bit, but
no,
where did we fold at right
No,
here?
man, I'm very strategic with it. I'm gonna slice you up so respectful and politely. I'm not gonna show emotions. I'm not gonna cuss and fuss with you. I'm just gonna politely tell you what it is. You know.
Yeah.
PT said.
I ain't scared of you, mother.
Man, this
Oh,
one
man,
of
it's
the
been
crunk
awesome. It's
shows
been
out
great,
here, man. Yes, indeed.
Y'all got anything else?
PT,
Man,
I got.
he done ran through the whole damn glossary, dog. I am
He went
impressed.
through everything.
I am
like this
impressed.
right here, man. This dude right here. Anyway, man, you can reach out to John Kidner to bring him on, man.
Most
that was
definitely,
your
man.
man.
I definitely stand up the kid, man. It's crazy time for us right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Only because, man, we got so many contingencies of when we'll be able to get out and see our kids.
Mhm.
You know, so he's kind of working through those logistics right now. But as soon as he come with a game plan and things slow down like that, man, I see Kid make. Kid's a great guy, you know, and
I love Kid.
it was so
wish he
fun
could've stayed.
seeing him and Dak, man. Like
That hurt my soul when that hurt my soul. PT, that hurt my soul. I wrote an article on John Kidner. I as soon as they were talking about possibly maybe getting him, that hurt my soul that they let him walk. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Him and Mike McCarthy must bumped into each other and said, "Man, what's up?"
Not that. Just from my perspective, saying thing like with Kidner being so hands on with Dak. Now it's like it's so many voices now because McCarthy he's hands on with his quarterback, you know, and then Kellen being an OC, you know, so it's like man,
Too
you
many
don't
hands
want
on him.
too many hands on him, you know, too many voices, you know. But like I said, Kidner's excited, man. Kidner's a high school guy. That's his passion.
Yeah.
Oh, his passion is high school ball. When he came back, I mean, he was coming back for Jason Garrett. You know, that's just the effect that Garrett has on guys. That when Garrett called, you answer.
Yeah, and he did a hell of a job with Dak, man. I got a kind of a wild card question here. I'm not sure if you would know about it, but one of the commenters, my man Lunatic, he said, "Do you know why New England blocks so many punts every year?" Because I know you're a special teams coach.
100% I do. 100%.
Why is that? What's those cheat codes?
One, they got the dudes to do it. You know, like certain organizations have special teams guys, and some of it value special teams. Exactly. You know, so you got a 13-year vet that's there just to play special teams. You know, and I'm gonna put my best guy on your worst guy, and we're gonna exploit him. You know, so those are the things. Like I even heard stories about when Forbath came about with Slater. Like Slater, he don't even go to practice. He go to special team practice, and he's a special teams guy. He know he's there to play special.
He worked with the specialist.
You know, so therefore, you know, you have those. They have a group of guys that are just true special teams players. That's what you're here for. You grind at it and you get it done. So I just think they got that veteran leadership and those true veteran and Pro Bowl guys as special teams player on their squad. And that's why they're able to be productive and block so many punts and be successful on film. It's the dudes that they have.
There you have it, Lunatic. Yeah, he been asking that question for the last like 20 minutes. He said, I got to know.
Because if you look at it with us in Dallas, man, our punt team was changing every week. You know, guys going down have to change, or this guy's not up, and this guy's here.
And your punter was hurt.
And now it's like punter's hurt. Like, well, this guy may not be up this week. Well, the guy that does it now, he's starting. So now we can't play him on special team because he's starting now. You know, so those are all the different nuances that go into being a special teams coach. Sometimes you don't know your roster until Sunday at 3:00, and it's maybe a night game. And you don't even know who the guys you got that's going to go out there with. You know, so that's the nuances of being a special team coach and knowing, man, I don't even know the guys I'm going to have because different roster moves. Or as you in New England, and it's like, okay, cool. This is your core guys. This is the guys you're going to rock with. These are guys that know day in and day out they're going to go play special teams.
So you hear that, Lunatic? Because he says, so why doesn't other teams do it? But to me, it sounds like you're saying in New England, they literally say this is what you're here for and nothing else. We're in Dallas, we're asking not even Devin Smith, but we're asking the fifth wide receiver to say, hey, we need you to know the offense, but you got to go be a gunner also on special teams. Yeah. Where Slater wasn't even learning the offense.
Yeah. So Slater was just a special teams demon, so he understood that. Slater wasn't worried about going through his offensive playbook. Like all he was worried about is special teams playbook, and it's just what you value, you know. So again, when McCarthy came in, he spoke on what he valued. So he went and got a special teams coach. Organization over there that value that, you know. So it's about just having your guys, you know, and knowing who your core group of guys going to be. Like we had and that's why I say I'm grateful for Witten, because if Witten wouldn't have been there, we don't have Blake Jarwin, who was a core special teams guy. He was our tackle on punt team. You know, he was on kickoff return team. He was a guy that helped us. You don't have him. Or you get Tony Pollard, and now the offense loves him now, and they telling us, well, you know, I don't know about returning kicks now, because you know he's looking good on offense. So as a special team coach, those the battles you fight. So everybody says, oh, we want more Tony Pollard. So if he getting more snaps on offense, guess where he's from off of? Special teams. Okay,
special team. You know? Y'all listen in the chat over there. Man, dropping all types of nuggets, man.
You know, dropping bombs like Hiroshima.
You know, that's the good battle. Stuff. You know, again, like when your special team guys start producing, guess what happened now? They leave you. You know, and they go to offense and defense. You know, like mentioned Jeff Heath. Let's talk about Heath.
Yeah, he was an ace.
Talk about Heath.
Talk about him then.
Everybody talk about, now the special team ain't been really good. Guess when they was good? When Heath was on there.
Yeah.
Kayvon.
When he started balling out, guess what happened to Heath? Hey, son, come on over here and play defense for us. Yeah. You know, don't worry about special team. Before Heath, you got Barry Church. Yeah. You know, Barry Church was another
Barry
guy.
Church
Came
was
in
a
as
dog on the
special teams guy. Guess what now? Now you're on defense now. You know, we're far.
Because I remember that's where he made his mark.
Exactly. In New England, you got Slater. Slater ain't catching no balls. He wasn't worried about catching nothing for Brady. Nothing. Cordell Patterson, you know, he know his job is to go return kicks. And they may put me on offense every now and then and give me a jet sweep. But when I walk in this league with the Vikings, I'm returning kicks. And that's it. Yeah. You know, in Chicago, you got Cohen. Cohen ain't worried about nothing on offense. Pump, kick me the ball, and I'm going to go play. You know, so that's one of the things when people knock, why are not good at special teams? You know, like you lose your guys. You know, you lose because when you're in different organizations, you know, when your guys start playing well, they move on from special teams to offense and defense.
Man, y'all hear this, man? This is some great stuff, man. Great stuff. And they love you in the comments, by the way. They love absolutely loving this, man. Absolutely loving this. But yeah, that's the last question I wanted to throw at you from the wild card question in the comments. They were really asking about special teams. But go right on ahead, James.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if y'all ain't got nothing else, we gonna
we done kept
you got anything else, Law?
Nah. I was gonna squeeze them out some more information about this West Coast offense philosophy, but you guys probably already touched on it, right?
We touched on a little bit of the offense, but not actually the West Coast. But yeah.
You can squeeze.
You think we're gonna run West Coast, or what we gonna do? The variations of Kellen Moore's offense?
I think it'll definitely be a mixture, only because McCarthy loves what Kellen is doing. However, McCarthy loves what McCarthy does. You know, so that's one thing about coaches. You know, everybody talk about egos. There's nothing wrong with an ego. Bring your ego, because your ego is who you are and makes you good at what you do. But it's only when your ego starts to affect the team in a negative way, you know, that is bad. But I think that McCarthy and Kellen, because Kellen is a sponge. As much as Kellen is still a really good listener. You know, so with Kellen being able to sit down and him, McCarthy getting together and figuring out what they want to do for what's best in offense. And the great thing about it is they got the tools to build whatever kind of house they want to build.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so whatever way they want to go about
great analogy.
You know, and it's from even bringing in the other Blake at the tight end spot. Now we got a true Y, a guy that can put his hand in the ground. Dalton Schultz, he still got to beat out Dalton Schultz.
Oh, Schultz
is still a dominant Y that can put his hand in the ground and go block. You know, so those
block his ass
that, what I mean, it's whatever McCarthy and Kellen wants to get done, they can get done. You know,
this O-line gonna do zone blocking, or what do you think they're gonna do?
That I don't know because I don't know the offensive line coach.
Okay.
You know,
Phil
one thing about O-line is they're gonna favor who their coach is. You know, and I don't know. I'm not familiar with the offensive line coach, what he wants to do. But one thing about even asking what scheme you want to do is, like I was telling them, it can be stressful because you have so many things. So you can go out there and try to do all these different things and not be good at any of them. So Dallas got to figure out what they're good at. Of course, everybody wants to see 60 points scored, you know, but at the same time, we got to figure out what's our identity, you know, and that's going to be the first thing. And I firmly believe that our identity is going to be to run the ball. I think McCarthy excited because McCarthy never had a running back.
That's what James Jones said. That's what he's been saying. I've been really listening to Jones, and you know he played with him, and he kept on saying, everybody keep on saying McCarthy likes to throw the ball, and he's been staunchly putting his hand on the table, saying, "Listen, we ran the shit out of Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
He said we were running 30, 35 times. He said I was coming back to the huddle saying, if y'all hand this ball off one more time to this dude, I'm going out the huddle." He said that's how much they ran the ball. And he said, and he ain't never had a Zeke. So if he had that with Lacy, what the hell he gonna do with Zeke and Pollard?
Right.
Hey, we got to put it in Jameis Olawale too, man.
I think Mays to get his. I want Mays to get touches on offenses, but I was telling you guys about those true teamers. I see Mays as being a true teamer now, and he can be that now. You know, he can still have his patches on the offense, but I think he can be a true teamer. I think he's going to excel.
Probably be really good at
with Jones, you know,
because he's drugged by Cowboy Nation. Everybody like, he can't catch.
Because he dropped that ball. I think he can catch,
He's missing out on blocking. I think he can catch. I think he can do everything you ask him.
Jameis is one of the most athletic fullbacks.
He ran like a 4.4 or something crazy.
My thing about it is, you're not on year 8 being just an average guy at fullback. Come on now, no one even has fullback now. You know, and this guy's going on year 8 at fullback. You know, so that speaks volume of what he brings to the table. You know, was he always used right? No, that's on us. Coaching staff to take that. When I tell you this kid got tools, you know, and
y'all listen.
You know, he got tools. He's a great guy on special teams. You know, he's a 4-phase guy. He's a linebacker running like a running back, tackling like a running back. You know, so those guys are hard to come by. You know, it's hard to come by those guys that can do all of that. You know, so he's a guy that can line up at the F position, a motion back in the backfield. He's athletic enough. He's smart enough to do all those things. So now it's just on the coaching staff to get him where he needs to get to.
Man, I'm ready to hit something now. Man, I'm ready to watch some football. Man.
My bro wanted to know what's your most memorable thing about Coach Skip Pete during your time playing with him?
Oh man, the dinners at his house, you know. And I tell you, like, you can ask players about anything about memorable thing, and I guarantee they'll never tell you anything that happened.
Well, you probably can't tell.
Yeah, you know, but just dinners at his house, man, and just seeing those guys outside of the hash, you know, outside of the hash, man, outside of the facility, just seeing how down to earth they are and just how they care about their players, you know. So just things that Skip would instill in us, man, how he be down to earth, how he opened his house up to us just for meals and things like that. And his crazy wife, you know, but just his Khan family, man. So that would be my most memorable thing, is that him taking the time to reach us outside of the hashes, you know, and staying true to us. You know, that's the biggest thing that anybody can speak on the coach is how true that coach is to his room. And one thing about Skip Pete, man, he was true to his room, 100%.
Yeah. And from his background, starting off as a wide receivers coach, and then ultimately be like a football coach as it relates to running the ball, I think that we will see more catches in the backfield.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Like his knowledge from the game, or even from sitting beside his brother, you know, Rodney when Rodney at the quarterback spot, that was the game. You know, so I think you will see more of it from Tony. You know, and then like I said, it's all up to them just figuring out how to use TP. You know, and when to use TP, because of course fans say, "Oh yeah, I just want now." Like, but it's so much that goes on into a game plan or a script or the flow of a game. You can't just say, "Okay, let's just go throw Tony Perrin at the slot." Like, it may not be time. Down in distance or hashes.
Yeah, good stuff.
All that goes into effect of how you want to use your players, and that's the thing about with Tony and Kellen and McCarthy, that I'm excited to see how it all comes together.
You and me both, Playboy. You and me both.
Yes,
all right,
indeed.
James.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Well, you know what? We definitely appreciate you. Me and you going to chop it up here for a few minutes after this. I hope you got a little bit of time. I ain't going to keep you long because I know
we done kept him long.
Yeah, I know he
been our longest
I seen him stretching back there. So, we keeping him. He said he's stretching back
No,
there.
listen.
Okay.
Over here. Hey, I was getting my second win. I gotta get back out here and get
I'm
it.
saying like, hey, PT might need a damn podcast because
You need one.
listen,
you
we
good.
can go. We can go. We can go for hours and on
we'll
hours.
talk
But
all night.
when we have guests, first time
We
coming
gotta
through,
chill
we don't
out.
want to make
Yeah,
you.
we gotta chill out.
Pressure.
Hey,
Yeah.
man, whenever
Blame me,
y'all
though.
need me, whenever y'all need me, I'm here, man.
Blame
Especially during the
me,
season,
yes,
so we can
yes.
talk games.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we definitely gonna need you like after the game and stuff
Hell
like that.
yeah.
for those reviews.
Don't be
Like,
saying
what
that.
really
You be
going
like,
down?
don't be saying that. Look at your phone. Be like, all right, man. All right, man. I said a little bit. You're doing every damn game now.
and then, like I told Jay, man, my biggest thing is when I get on here and talk, man, it's my perspective, my experience,
That's why.
and I'll
respect that.
never slander anybody else to credit others.
Exactly.
I believe in giving
Crab
folks
in the
their
barrel.
flowers and crediting others. I'm not here to slander anybody else. So
Exactly.
it's not. It's a different. You can credit that and not have to slander rope.
Yeah.
And they want to know where they can
So,
find you.
At P-Town34 on Twitter. That's all I got right now. Twitter, man. I got to get my socials up.
That's all you really. That's all you really need though is Twitter. When you
Yeah, man.
a player or coach, you don't need all that extra stuff.
See, that's why I said things happen for
We
a
need
reason.
that extra
You may want to do your production game, and then you got Skywalker right here. You know what I'm saying?
Skywalker, yeah.
These things can happen like that.
yeah,
You
let me
feel me?
know,
These
man.
things
Let me
can
know.
happen in the air.
Say that
So,
again
you
one
know.
more time.
At P-Town34.
P-Tanner34. Y'all. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it in the comments for y'all.
Matter of fact, we live on Twitter right now. I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna tag you in this post right quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Appreciate
they
you,
last
man.
All right, yeah, man. We
Yes,
definitely
sir.
appreciate you coming on here, man, taking out your time, doing all that. And like I said, we're gonna chop it up for a few, but man, 100%. I love just the energy and the
Yeah, man.
realness
Oh,
and
my
the
goodness.
openness.
And he could have kept going.
I mean,
We kicking you out now.
Yeah. Anybody we bring on here, we keep it real. Like we just
Yeah.
try to keep it so real and funky for the people that follow us and support us. We don't want to come in and bring on the BS. You know what I'm saying? We
Right,
want to shoot it
right.
straight from the hip, and that's what the type of people we like to bring. And you just really killed it today. And I just
Oh my gosh! I mean,
mad
we've
love for
had
you,
guys on
dog.
here, but I'm impressed. I'm just saying, I'm impressed because
Right.
normally, like I said, on our shows we can go, but when there's guests, we try to have some time. But you were going for us, and you were insightful. You were you. You ain't holding your
sir.
jabs
Appreciate
back, and you kept it a bean. And that's bean where I'm from. You kept it 100. I don't know if you.
Yeah.
Man, all that stuff. He
Yeah,
was saying
like-
John. I'm like, what's the John?
They don't like
You
my
know,
lingo, fam. They don't
Yeah,
like my
yeah,
East
yeah.
Coast lingo, dog. They don't like it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate everyone that came through in the chat. They really enjoyed you, and make sure you
sir.
follow him on
Yeah.
Twitter
Yes.
at PT or P Tanner
Yep. P-Town34.
P Tanner 34. Thank you guys for joining the show. I'm gonna upload this on the podcast. If you missed the first half, run it back. This was some great stuff. He dropped a lot of nuggets, y'all. A lot of nuggets. Thank you, Phillip. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.